Hey, this is Harold again. This video is about the Meldaproduction mixing contest of February 2017, and I just want to show you in a short video what I did to the song and how I mixed it. The idea was that you cannot only mix the song, but it's also a creative competition. That means you can use any of these tracks or change any of the tracks, record new things, and that's what I did. Before we start, I just let you hear the original tracks that came with the Melda contest, just raw in mono, how I imported them in the Cubase.
If you wanna go the way I go, don't need back, full of things you pack. The only thing you need for this cruise, know what direction.
This is a kind of jazzy tune with piano, guitar solo, and a piano solo later in the song. Okay, that was the original untreated raw tracks, unmixed. Let's switch to my version of the song. Okay, now this is my version of the song. I play for you the same part as before. And I changed the first guitar solo to a synth solo. I used all of the original drums and I put them on a subgroup. So I'll let you hear the drums first only, without any of the instruments. This is the first part where we have a rim shot. And this is then the snare part. So what did I choose for the individual tracks? So this is the bass drum track, and I did fairly a lot to the bass drum. I used first I used the turbo compressor from Melda, which is a very cool plugin. It models several original analog compressors, and you can switch here on the left side very easy from one kind of compressor to another compressor to compare how it sounds with the different compressors. This is, for example, with an 1176 modeling, and what I used is here the 160. It's a DBX 160, very often used for drums. We have an API 2500, the SSL bus compressor, the LA2A, some different compressors, and it's very easy to choose between the compressors. So I use this to tighten up the different hits on the bass drum. And then I used the drum leveler. This is also a very cool plugin you can use to raise the individual hits so they sound the same. So you have a threshold, and everything above the threshold is raised or lowered to the velocity, to the green line here. So every hit of the drum is the same, is very even. And I used also the drum enhancer, which is like a drum replacer. It adds another drum to it. And I used the Subkick 2 to add a little more bass. This is without it. With it. Very subtle, not so much. And the equalizer I used just to get more high into it and to get rid of some mud here and make some room for the bass. Okay, and for the snare I used a very similar setup. I used the turbo compressor again here with the 160, the DBX 160. I used the drum leveler, and to make the hits a little more even, I had to optimize the threshold in different parts of the song to capture all the hits. And I also used the drum enhancer here to get the acoustic bass as acoustic snare drum to it. Like this. Turn it off. Okay, so let's listen to the snare alone with and without the inserts. This is now without the raw track. And it's with the processing. Okay, I've did fairly nothing on the overheads, only some equalizer here. On the toms I put a gate in, and I cut out some of the toms because it wasn't sounding so good. You can see that I'm not the guy who's erasing the things. If I don't need some of the things of the tracks, I just mute it to be able to come back to it whenever I like. So again, the drums alone. Okay, for the bass, I used the original bass. In the original song, there was a bass in the intro playing all alone without any instruments. I didn't like it and it didn't sound good, so my song starts when all the instruments come in and the vocals. So this is the bass. I put the auto volume on it to have a kind of compressor effect, so to even out the different volumes of the notes that the bass played, and some EQ to make it a little higher, a little more transparent. Okay, for the guitar I used only some EQ and some compression to make it a little more, well, sitting better in the mix. And for the piano, I also used the equalizer only in some compression to make it sound a little better, a little more pop-like, more highs. Here like this, put in some highs, and to make it more like a pop piano, not like a jazz piano. What I added to the tracks is I played some brass sounds from my keyboard and added it left and right to the tracks. You can see that here, brass left and right. And let's get that in solo. This is an equalizer on the brass to make them a little bit shiny and clearer, so get rid of some of the bass. And also I put in a reverb to give it some extra room. The other thing I added was a kind of marimba vibraphone sound. This is here. I just played along with the song and played what came to my mind. And then I just kept some of the parts. And it has some equalizer on it to boost the highs. Then a delay to get some more space on the sides. And also a stereo spread to make it a little bit wider. Okay, let me play that again with and without the effects. This is the pure vibraphone sound. Now with the effects. I used the Melda power synth for the part where the original guitar solo was and put in some keyboard solo. This is not a big thing, this is just a preset vintage pulse wave modulation, that's what it's called, the sound. And I used some, where is it? I used some delay on it to make it a bit wider. It's a 1/8 synth ping pong delay to make it a bit wider, and that's all I did to that. For the vocals, I used some inserts and some sends. I used a Doppler, which is the Melda delay in a Doppler preset, and some reverb, and I also had a second reverb I automated that's only coming in the last verse. In the insert I had the compressor, two compressors. I first used the compressor in the style of the LA2A to cut the peaks of the vocals, and then a medium compressor, the 1176. This is an idea that comes very often. You put on the vocals an LA2A and an 1176, depending on what you want to achieve or what sounds better. First the 1176 or first the LA2A. It's better to have two compressors, compress only a little, instead of having one compressor do all the work. Then I use the auto pitch to adjust some flat or sharp notes, but only in a speed of 32% and a very low depth of 60%, about 60%. So it sounds like this.
Your love will become people's cane.
So you can hear the Doppler.
If you wanna go the way I go, don't need back, full of
This is without the Doppler.
the only thing you need for this
So this is with the Doppler.
No.
As send effects, I have some effects here. You see on the right side the Doppler, some delay I use for the effects for the guitar or for the synth, and some reverb, two reverbs for the vocals, and one reverb for the snare, and a delay for the brass. So let's go back. Okay.
If you would. If you wanna be the way I am, watch me closely, try to be the same. No preconceived notion, how to get your portion. Your love will become people's cane. If you wanna go the way I go, don't need back, full of things you pack. The only thing you need for this cruise, know what direction to take.
Okay, that's a part of the song, just to let you hear what I did to the song and how it sounded mixed. I hope you liked the video. I hope you get some inspiration and you get some idea what cool tricks you can do with the Melda plugins. Especially I like the turbo compressor. It's very fast to switch between the compressors and to compare the sound of the different compressors. Also, the delay is a very cool stuff that you can use. You can have a lot of modulation on that. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.